So I waited almost an entire year to launch my Pokemon card business when I first secured my domain. And it took me this long just because I just didn't quite feel ready to kind of take on that kind of commitment, just like from a mental standpoint and just how like particular I am when it comes to just getting things set up for the first time. Because for me, I always want to have like things to be perfect. I want it to have the exact details that I want. I want to make sure everything's running smoothly the way I need to or want it to. I want to be able to make sure that there's no little hiccups and I made sure I cross all my T's and dots all my I's. But that's just never going to be the case, especially when it comes to running your own business. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have to learn from them. So I prepped all this time, got everything ready, and I still have these hesitations on maybe I shouldn't launch this. Maybe I shouldn't go into it. But I'm saying F it. I'm saying screw it. Let's just go for it. Right. But I also wanted some time to kind of fully understand how e-commerce worked. Now, a lot of us has done a lot of selling through Mercari or eBay or other kind of platforms like that. And it makes it very easy for yourself. It makes it very easy for you, right? I mean, it handles pretty much everything else. They just charge you a fee and that's about it, right? But now you are in charge of all that, right? Tax documents, sales, shipping, processing fees, like that's all on you now. So I wanted to kind of better fully understand that, and shout out to pokemontcg. He's the one that kind of made all of this kind of come together and understand all this stuff better just by going through his videos and his experiences and learning through his mistakes and him sharing his knowledge. So props to you, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so I felt like I just needed all this extra time to prepare and get everything ready to go for where we are now. Another reason too is I started YouTube in October 2024, I think is when I made my first video. And I wanted a whole year to at least start making content and recording videos and getting more comfortable with being in front of a camera, even if it wasn't good videos. I still probably don't make very good videos, but I at least wanted to get that repetition in and see what it was like being in front of the camera, learning how to edit and learning all the software and stuff like that and how things work, because I just didn't know how it all came together. So that was also another learning experience, is how to work all this stuff. Never used OBS in my life. Now I feel like I'm pretty good at it. So that was another thing too. And I also want to become more consistent. But last year I was kind of consistent when I first started. I think about 8 to 10 videos in, I was doing pretty well, like once every other week. Then I just fell off a cliff. Didn't really keep up with it. I don't know where I lost like a little bit of inspiration at, but I was still in the background kind of getting everything else ready to go. So I was still doing my personal collecting stuff. I was buying sealed product for myself. I bought like, multiple booster boxes and stuff. If you saw my early videos, I did some early pickup videos and stuff, like where all those are coming from. So I was doing pretty well early on. I needed to become more consistent. I didn't hit nearly the goal that I wanted to. I think I have like 40-ish videos right now. So I definitely wanted to pick that up. Another thing too, I wanted to make sure too that the collection that I'm putting together is something that will actually sell, right? If I'm going to be using my personal collection, which I am now, to build this business and get it going, I wanted to make sure what I'm collecting is something that actually people like or people want, which it turns out pretty much all of it is what people want, especially right now. So all my inventory I got started with from my personal collection that I use for vending has done really well. I mean, I still have a lot of it, but I've actually kind of churned some of that out, especially the more popular cards, into other inventory for stuff that, that I like / that people like. So like more stuff like this, right? And also like collecting things that I want, but if it sells, it doesn't. If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, I'm cool with keeping some of it. So, the vending has kind of turned me onto another side of the business that I like. A lot of part of the hobby too that I really enjoy. And that's just like that constant interaction, making deals, making those types of sales. I think it's a lot of fun, and it kind of keeps me energized about it all. Kind of going on my first point too, I wanted to over prepare kind of. And I wanted to think that when I launch the site that everything's going to run smoothly. I've thought of everything and everything's going to go according to plan, right? But it just doesn't. Like having your own business, there's going to be surprises. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be something that's always going to happen that you're not ready. And it's unrealistic to think that you're going to be fully prepared for when you're ready to go. And so I kind of just thought about that over the last 8 months when I was building the website and kind of loading up with product and am I ready or am I not? Because I actually wanted to launch this maybe in the summertime, but I was saving up to go on a vacation in the end of summer. So, like in September, I was on vacation for almost a month. And so, being gone for a month just didn't make any realistic sense. And so, when I got back in October, I did my other show again. Vending did pretty good still. Couldn't get any content out for that, but still, like, I was just kind of getting back into the groove of things, but I still, again, didn't feel quite ready. But through all the vending that I did, even though I only did 3 shows, I learned a lot that you're just never going to be ready, and you should just go for it and just kind of learn on the way. I mean, I don't expect a lot of traffic up at the very beginning, so it's kind of good that I'm starting at a spot that's not where I don't have a huge following already, because even if orders trickle in like 1 or 2 a week, I can kind of learn like, okay, how does the workflow go? How do things process? How does the back end of Wix look like? So it's probably actually going to be a good thing that things start off slow. And so I kind of wanted to go through all these points to kind of put it out there as to why I waited so long, because I feel like the site has kind of been pretty much the same since almost the summertime, with some small tweaks here and there. And I still feel this feeling that I'm like, I'm missing something. But I think at this point, I'm just going to go for it. And I think it's just going to be, and I think I'm just going to have to roll with it at this point. I mean, I have a decent amount of sealed inventory that I had just from my personal collection from what I've accumulated over the last 5 or 6 years. And it's not a lot. I mean, it's still like a lot of the stuff that I did have, I sold from my first 2 shows over in the earliest summer, which was like more of my sun and moon era stuff, XY stuff, which kind of sucks because in retrospect, I think I would have done better if I put it on the site and kept it. But again, I had a trip that I wanted to pay for, and so that stuff helped me out. So those are going to be some misses that you're going to get over time when you run a business. So I'm okay with it. So that was just a few points I wanted to go over. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I do just kind of want to do some little updates here and there as I go about my journey, as I launch the site, and kind of the things that I learned as I go along. And I'm going to do that as well as from what I learned over the last 6 months of when I started doing vending over the summer. So stay tuned. Really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.